Joining me here is our special guest, a big fight fan, John Madden. And John, you've been here all week watching all of this excitement. It must remind you a little bit, since they're calling it the Super Fight, of the Super Bowl.
It reminds me a lot of the Super Bowl, but I think there's nothing better than a fight scene and the week of the fight scene, and because everyone has an idea on who's going to win, and you don't really have to be an expert. It's easy to be an expert. There's only two guys. You know, it's not like football. You have to say, well, what if they zone or they blitz, or what are they going to do with the three wide receivers against the nickel? Or the basketball, you know, the 4-and-1 and the back doors and all that stuff. There's just two guys in their shorts and tennis shoes. You know, and you just pick one, you like one, and you just go back and forth and watch them. And I think the whole scene is a great scene.
Well, we're going to find out what John Madden thinks is going to happen on Monday night a little later in our program. Thanks, John. We're going to look forward, more importantly, to your conversation with marvelous Marvin Hagler. Well, I've been joined by our colleague who will be involved in the commentary this afternoon and on the big fight on Monday night. Hagler and Leonard, Gil Clancy. And Gil, you had a trip down to Sugar Ray's camp, saw him at Hilton Head in South Carolina, and I'm wondering, now that you've seen him this week here in Las Vegas, any difference? What are your thoughts?
Well, Tim, I wasn't very impressed with Ray down in Hilton Head, but watching him here, he looked much stronger, much sharper, seems to be peaking right at the right time.
Well, everybody is interested to find out if that's the case. When you look back on Ray Leonard's career, you can understand perhaps why marvelous Marvin Hagler often seems so envious. As Gil found out when he visited Ray at a South Carolina training camp, everything seemed to come so naturally along Leonard's climb to the top.
He seemed like just another flashy amateur almost a decade ago. He's only 30 now, but entering the twilight. The smile and charm was Olympian. Today it's a fight against the hands of time. His most famous battle ended with no crunching punch, just the joy of having beaten the devil. It made him the most likable face in America. And his charisma still holds the crowd. But we wonder if he can show this type of punching power. Can he come back from the setbacks that some say have left him confused?
This is the only man can make that possible. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. But unfortunately, it'll never happen. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Well, this is a happening. This is something that is going to change the history of boxing. Something's never been done before.
This has pressure on me. I don't necessarily feel that way because the expectation of everyone is the fact that Marvin Hagler is expected to win. He's expected to knock me out. He's a full-fledged middleweight. I'm a welterweight that's now become what they say a junior middleweight or a blown-up, out of proportion middleweight.
I trained Emil Griffith when he won the middleweight championship, and I agree with Ray's camp.
But right now, he's a solid middleweight. He's a solid middleweight. Like I said, I do know one thing, the fact that you want him in good condition.
Weight is not the big problem. He'll be a natural middleweight.
This is only the second fight Ray has had in 4.5 years. How much has he lost? It's always tough to tell until you get in the ring. It wasn't easy at first for Ray.
The first 2 weeks that we were down here, and we came down here third week in January, he probably wasn't the most pleasant guy to be around.
Don't have to push him to train. Loves to train. He's a happy fighter. Gets to the gym, he'll be smiling today. That's the best kind of fighter. My fella's the puncher in this fight. Sugar Ray Leonard will definitely be the banger in this fight. Going to stop Marvin Hagler, 8th, 9th, or 10th round.
The Leonard camp has read everything about Marvelous Marvin. It makes for a natural story, the smile versus the scowl.
They say he's losing. The fact that he's being hit more and he's been beat up. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think he's been beat up at all. I think Marvin has always been victorious. I think he just happened to fight tough fights.
Marvin Hagler's got the problem. He won't find my fella to be easy like the other guys were. He won't find Ray.
The brain trust includes Jacobs, Dundee, and Morton. They have tried everything psychological as well as physical to get Ray ready, including the strategy of how many rounds this fight should be.
Gil, the number of rounds was probably the most difficult part of the negotiations, believe it or not. 12 rounds was very important to us because it was very important to Mr. Hagler. Mr. Hagler had mentioned on more than one occasion that in the Duran fight it was even after 12 rounds. He needed the last 3 to pull it out. We wanted the 12 rounds because obviously from a strategic and a mental standpoint, there's a little bit of edge there.
Angelo and I have worked together and against each other in the past, so I know a psych job when I hear it.
What I'm concerned about is the way Marvin Hagler keeps his trunks up to here. Every time you see Marvin Hagler fight, you can't see his belly button. Ray's a better-looking guy, so I'm going to put a bow tie on. It'll be up to his neck.
There will be no tuxedos on April 6th. It's Ray Leonard's grasp for glory that only he can measure.
Gil, that last close-up, the shot of Ray's eyes, still the subject of much discussion by the media, many of the fans here in Las Vegas, although the commission, Ray himself, his doctors all insist there is no further possible danger as a result of the surgery he's had. Of course, there could be a new injury, which could occur to anybody at any time. But you've been in many corners and many tight situations, seen many boxing injuries. What are your thoughts on this particular situation?
Well, Tim, years ago when a fighter got a detached retina, he was finished. But now with the advent of laser beam surgery, things have changed. Doctors will tell you that once they reattach your retina with the laser beam, it's better than new. Now, Ray has been examined by 4 different ophthalmologists, including one from Lloyd's of London. They've all given him a clean bill of health. I don't think the eye's a factor.
Ray would like it to not be a factor, and he'd like everybody to just forget about it, but of course it'll still be on people's minds when the fight begins. Well, coming up momentarily, our John Madden has a visit with marvelous Marvin Hagler. I think you're going to find tremendously entertaining and informative. He's a big fight fan, and we'll learn more about Marvin from John in a moment. Madden is a great football expert, and I don't know how many of you know that he's a very knowledgeable boxing fan. John, I know that marvelous Marvin Hagler has been a particular favorite of yours over the years.
You know, I think of all the guys in sports, I think I respect marvelous Marvin Hagler as much as anyone. And, you know, you pick all Madden teams and the type of guy that you would like to have and coach, and that's the type of guy Hagler, I mean, that dedicated guy, the sacrifice, the blue collar, the lunch pail guy, the guy that had to work hard and pull himself up. And I've always respected that. I mean, he's a self-made man who kind of epitomizes all that hard work type guy.
I can see him on an all-Madden team. And in contrast to Sugar Ray Leonard's success, the saga of Marvin Hagler started when his career outlook was anything but marvelous. And as John reports, even when it seemed that at long last he'd get that chance to settle the score with Leonard, he was made to feel like the odd man out.
As far as Leonard and Hearns is concerned, I'm not thinking about them at the moment right now. What I am really feeling and thinking right now is that I am seriously thinking about, again, retiring from the boxing game.
I said, he's been retiring off and on for the last 3 or 4 years. Then that challenge comes up.
I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. And maybe with this fight, it could be a possibility that I can be satisfied. And then that could be it. Then that can be it, but I'm not taking it that way because I don't want to slack up at none of the sense. I want to keep going until I'm done.
That never-ending hunger has been there throughout Hagler's career. And it surfaced again as he prepared for the Leonard fight with the motto he adopted, no mercy.
No mercy is, I took that on in the beginning, and I don't know, for some reason, that's what I felt that this fight's all about, Marvin, no mercy. Just go out there and just take this guy apart.
Are you concerned about his eye?
Leonard had a legit excuse to get away from the game of boxing and still come out smelling. Why go out of the game on your back or whatever like that? And this is the way that I'm planning on him going. I'm planning on stretching him. I'm planning on hurting him. If I don't knock him out, he's going to take a lot of damage.
The past few years have been good for Hagler. There's been commercial endorsements as well as an increase in his recognition and popularity. Still, the specter of Leonard hovered over him. For Leonard seemed to obtain with ease and grace all that Hagler had to struggle and sacrifice for. And so, simply put, Hagler just doesn't like the guy.
I think he's an imitation, really. He's an imitation of Muhammad Ali. He don't even really know who he is. He's even copycatted the name Sugar. The real Sugar Ray is, you know, Sugar Ray Robinson. You know, who is Ray Leonard? I'm planning on drilling a hole into that body so I find Ray Leonard.
Well, who do you think he is?
I don't think he knows who he is. He's been caught up in a trap like that because of everybody called him Sugar Ray and all that stuff and whatever. I think he's caught up in his own self. Again, that comes with probably an ego type of thing. I think he's on the ego trip, no doubt about it.
As you get ready for this fight, are you concerned about your place in history?
It's not that I'm really looking for that. I'm looking for my glory. I think what happens is that I thought I was going to get it with Thomas Hearns. I thought I was going to finally get it with Roberto Duran and beating a guy like Mugabe. I thought I'd prove myself to the world that I can take on the boxes, take on the punches, take on any type of style that is out there. But yet there's still doubt in the public's eye. Not in the public, but in the boxing world. I have to maintain a certain image about myself. I can't go blowing off telling everybody I am the best, I am the greatest, and all this stuff. That's not my style. But I have to prove it once again. And I think that with Leonard, getting him out the way, I think that would finally do it for me. I can finally, hopefully, I'll find the satisfaction that I've been looking for and the glory.
To ensure that glory, Hagler's worked longer and harder than ever for this fight. When you train in the mirror and you're watching yourself then, what do you think then?
A lot of times when I stop and I stare in that mirror once in a while, I would hate to be fighting that guy on the other side of that mirror.
Do you have any predictions, any feeling that you have of how it'll go?
Yeah, I see me knocking him out. I see me a tough battle. I'm anticipating a very hard fight. There's no way I'm underestimating Leonard at all.
How about the judges here in Las Vegas?
Well, that I can't help too much, so that's why I bring my own judges with me. And my referee. This is K, this is O. What the people really want to see, John, and I actually believe this, they only love knockouts and blood. And that's what makes a fight like this. And with that type of money that's going into this fight, there won't be no love. You better forget that. There's no love in this fight.
Can Hagler lose? Maybe. But if Leonard's corner is banking on Hagler being as conservative as he appeared in the Duran fight, they might be in for a big surprise.
Watching the Duran fight, that Leonard was commentating on that fight, and there was things in that Duran fight that he saw that they'll be materializing on. But there's also things in that fight that I saw and Pat saw also that we've corrected. And if they're basing it solely on that, they'll get a rude awakening coming.
People feel as though they can whoop me or whatever. It motivates me. No matter what he does, no matter what he says, Leonard is standing in my way to what I want to achieve. And then there's only one way to do it, and that's to eliminate him.
Marvelous, Marvin. Now, John, you said you could probably find a spot for him on your all-Madden team. Maybe he would have made one of those great Oakland Raiders teams of yours.
Well, that's kind of how I picked the all-Madden team. You think of the guys that you would have liked to have coached. And last week, we just had a reunion of the Super Bowl 11 team. It was the 10th year, and I was thinking that Hagler would have fit in there perfectly. And I would have put him in the secondary. You can play 11, 12, whatever you want. But I would have had 3 safeties instead of 2. I would have had Tatum, Atkinson, and Hagler.
Oh, ouch.
And then say, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I can picture that group. That'd be fantastic. Well, thank you, John. Wait a minute now. How about a pick? And everybody wants to know who you like.
Hagler.
Hagler, done. Firm, as always. All right, John.